Then the Gemara brings others. The Gemara brings Beis Shammai hold sukkah diras kavah because they hold that shulchano b'soch habayis is possible. He has Rosh of Ruba b'sukkah, but shulchano is b'soch habayis. It's possible because Rashi doesn't say it. Rashi does say it, but Beis Shammai postling, yeah. That means the sukkah doesn't hold the shulchan. So Beis Shammai passes because that's not a way a person lived with his table in one place and he's in another place. So that's called diras kva. With a table, holds a table, it's called diras kva. So Tosfos says that each Tana that says sukkah diras kva, they're not the same. It's not the same diras kva. Each one that said sukkah has to be a diras kva, well, a different kind of diras kva. That means Rebbe held that a sukkah has to be dalet amas by dalet amas. That's his Rebbe's diras kva. But Beis Shammai's diras kva is Rosh of Ruba v'Shulchano. That's called the diras kva of Beis Shammai. What's the pshat in all this? Be'emes, it was bothering me. Something over here. There's a Rashi. Rashi's in a few places, but I think this is the strongest lashon in the few Dalet Amud Aleph, where the Gemara says Rav Meir holds that Nesarim wood that's 4 tefachim wide is possible. So he calls it Gzeras Tikra. This looks like a roof. So Rashi says a person will think, if I could sit under such beams, so let me go into my house, which is different than the house. What's wrong with the house? Rashi talks out. So Rashi says, Suke Amar Rachmana v'lo beiso shel kol yamos hashana. Rashi says, a sukkah means a sukkah, not the house you live in the whole year. Comes out that it means that this person is asking a question. Why can't I sit in my house? We're not talking about these kind of houses. We're talking about a house that has 4 walls. It doesn't matter, stone walls or wooden walls. And the roof is beams. So he'll say, what's wrong with beams? It's gedulei karka. It's gedulei karka, and it's eno mekabel tuma because it's pshutei klei. So it's kosher as chach. So what do I care? It's white. So let me sit in my house. Why is a house not a sukkah? The question is, this Pasha Tayyid is asking a kasha. Why is a house not a sukkah? So Rashi answers, because you live there the whole year. Sukkah merachmana v'lo beiso shel kol yamos hashana. And that, everybody holds it, that drosha. Nobody argues on that. The machlokes Rav Meir and Rabbi Yehuda is if you make a gzeira on thin beams, because you might use thick ones. So I'm saying like this, that you're not allowed to live in. Yet, Rebbe and Beis Shammai hold sukkah has to be diras kava. Beiso, it's not. Comes out like this, that there's madregas. There's a madrega called Beiso shel kol yamos hashana. There's a madrega that's called diras kava. And there's a lower madrega called diras aroi, which is how we pass it. No, I'm saying like this. What's the difference? If you do need a diras kava, but beiso it's not allowed to be. What's the difference between diras kava and beiso? I mean, and I don't even know if I have a teretz on this. What'll be the din midoraisa I'm talking? Somebody he lives in a house that has schach with beams, a 4 tefachim, they're not allowed to sit in. And he has a second house, the same exact house, but he doesn't live there. So he'll go from one house to the other house, and that'll be mekayim the mitzvah sukkah, because it's not beisu shel kol yamos hashana. So you can you do that midoraisa? That's my question. I don't know what the answer is, but I'll come upon in one thing you see from here, that there's a lower level, that it's not a bayis, yet it's a diras kava. Now let's try to understand this. I'm not going to say any chaps over here, and I'm not saying you get any kishrin over here. I'm just trying to explain, which to understand Havana. So I think the Havana is like this. Bais is a bais. Diras kava, it's not the person's bais, it's not his house. But the dwelling, the tzura of the dira, that means bitzad the gavra, the maisa that he's doing. What he's doing there is a kviyas dwelling. That means a person can live this way, bikviyas. He can live permanently this way. Now, what? So I would say it in the famous yeshivish language. I would use gavra and chefcha. When we talk about bayis, the psul of bayis, it's a psul in the chefta. That a chefta that's called bayis is possible. But there's another thing, when you talk about diras kva, you're talking about the gavra, what the gavra does in the sukkah. Once he goes out of his bayis, he's supposed to be dor, he's supposed to live. What kind of living? He has to live a kviyistika living. What is that? Says Rebbe, Dalet Ames. Why Dalet Ames? It's big. That's big. A person, what does he take up? How much space does it take for a person to take? What do I have? My chair, my table, a chair and a table with a gemara. And if I want, I eat over here. How much does it take? 2 ames the most. 2 by 2. What's Dalet Ames? And I'm satisfied. I'm sitting here and learning. It's geschmack. And if I want to eat, I have food also. I can sit here and eat. 2 by 2 ames would. I think I would be satisfied. The answer is no. You won't be satisfied. It's a dimion that you think. You need space. Dalet Ames. You have to be able to stretch out. You have to, and if you don't want to stretch out, but you have to have a right to stretch out. You need air around you. And Rebbe says, as long as it's it's a big shir Rebbe is giving. That's not called a diras kva. It's not called living. Diras haroy it is. Because when someone's traveling, he wants to camp out. He camps out any place. Diras haroy. But diras kva means living, and that's space. That's what Rebbe says. Beis Shammai says a smaller shir, because the pshat Beis Shammai, they're not arguing on the yesod itself. Beis Shammai is saying even the diras kva that you need, it's a smaller diras kva is enough. You need, it has to be big enough that it holds your table also. Your table has to be there with you. Is also the pshat. There's a certain surrounding a person needs to be called diras kva. This is the pshat in these 2 mandamrim. So I'm thinking to say that you see from here this yesod, and now's the time I'm talking about it, especially now because we're holding right before Sukkot. So you see from here that there's such a thing as space around a person. A person needs space. Now, what's the bir hadover? What's the havana of this thing? Now, I think that the pshat is like this, that a person is mushpa from his surroundings. If he has clutter around him, so you can't say that it doesn't influence you. You can't say it doesn't make it makes a rashim. You're in a place where there's more than you. You have to be you. You have to be yourself. Once you're yourself, you can function, you can do things. What does that mean, yourself? That you have space. You have your space. You have your mukum. Ein lach adam she'ein lo mukum. You need a mukum. You have other things there. Other things are tofes mukum. So it's taking away from the you. It's taking away from the being. A person, part of a person is the mukum of the person. There's something else is tofes mukum there. It has a bad hashpah on the person. Then it could be that I'll be Pnimius HaTorah, I'll be so there might be big inyanim in this. You know that there's such a thing as the Ar Makif, and there's such a thing as there are 5 levels to the neshama: nefesh, ruach, neshama, chaya, yechida. It's Yodua that nefesh, ruach, neshama, these are called Ar Pnimi. Chaya, yechida is the Ar Makif. That means there are certain kochos that they're so high, certain parts of the person they're so high that they can't go into him. They're surrounding him, and dafka because they're so high, so they're not inside the person. And these are the kochos of. I think it's like the very hidden kochos that they only are mizgala in when a person reaches madregas, but it's not in everyday. Not maybe in Shas Neila, maybe something. Maybe there are a few minutes here and there in different situations. If somebody sits and learns, they said that the Chazon Ish once taught that if you learn 1 hour straight, you feel high. If you learn 2 hours straight, you feel higher. And 3 and 4 and 5 and 10 hours straight. That's main olamah, but you have no musag of what that is. He said. They tell him, I said that when the Chazon Ish finished Eruvin, and it was the time of the First World War, and there was a curfew and he didn't know, and he went out in the street, and there were soldiers going over, and nobody saw him. Nobody saw him. That means the Kedushas had Torah elevated him so much that it could be that he was zoche to these Urus that are called Urus Makifim, and he just wasn't here. He became neshama. He was just like a neshama without a goof for a certain time. When in the schus of finishing Eruvin, which is Yodua, that the Chazon Ish was very big in the Eruvin. So I think that this is and I'm sure there's a lot more you could talk about the Inyan, and what we said is mamish just touching the Inyan, a tipa min hayam of what can be taught to this Inyan. There's a lot. I just remembered a shtickle Torah that I saw from Reb Shimon Shkop. How much time do we have left?
2 minutes and 20 seconds.
Okay, anyway. It's about giving a get bal kochach, and how does she get a kinyan in the piece of paper. So Reb Shimon says it's like somebody sells a person a keli, and it says, I'm selling you the keli without the air. You can't do such a thing. There's no such thing. Reb Shimon, he doesn't even bring a raya. You know, there's some people scheme, does he have a raya? But he just says it like with a passion. It seems that it's olive based. So you could sell a keli without the air. So what's air? Air is not. Air is part of the keli. It's bottled to the keli. It's a thing itself. What do you see from here? That there's such a thing as things that are air, and that's the union of the person's space, and that's the sod of the Chinese and the K'tei Haaretz that they hold a feng shui. But I just want to warn people: don't think you have to go by their rules and do exactly what they say. Do it your own way. Do what you feel. But just try to be aware that if you leave space for yourself, you'll feel much happier. Let's be zoche to v'samachta b'chaydecha v'yisha ach someach.
Shakoach, I can't play.